I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, you know? That's just making the music for you.
So if you're familiar with the Juno 106, you'll be very...
You know what doesn't have an oscillator is a good old-fashioned saxophone.
I would love to see you try and make this arpeggio beat. I doubt you could do it.
I'm making it right now. Look at me make it right now.
You didn't make
this.
That's a miracle. This is a preset sound.
Wow. Who could have ever discovered somebody making music like this? Like I said, I'm gonna do this for you, all right? I normally wouldn't touch.
It's a great instrument.
Yeah, no, don't make a big deal about it, all right? It's not that great. I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, you know? I will look at it though. I have to do, this is part of my inspection protocol.
Okay.
I have to scan over the entire thing with a GoPro so I can really go back and get into the editing software and see where all the dust mites are and all the nooks and crannies of this thing, you know? All right, you know, get the undercarriage. You got to get a good shot of the undercarriage of these because a lot of times what they won't tell you when you're buying one of these things online, they'll come broken a lot.
Why don't you just tell them what it is and review it?
Well, it's a Roland Juno-X. We covered it earlier. It's a keyboard. Normally, I'm not very excited about reviewing keyboards. I wouldn't do it, but we're here today doing it. So I'm just going to kind of tinker around with some of the presets here. Now this set preset's called 80s Arcade. Listen to that. That's just making the music for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's set to it has an arpeggio in it.
Why don't you get up and tinker around with it and look at it then if you know everything
You're on
about it.
right now, it's got an arpeggio on. You can kind of hear the sounds by itself. It has this arpeggiator on it, which allows you to program in sounds. Okay,
You really want to get.
So if we go to
that, mine's
if we go to like an
initialized, so
initialized,
to get under it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me just mess around with it. This has the original controls for like a Juno 106. So if you're familiar with the Juno 106, you'll be very familiar with.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, he's a keyboard guy. No, you can stay in the thing.
So we have over here. You want to show off the oscillator section. We've got our.
You got oscillators here. You know what doesn't have an oscillator is a good old-fashioned saxophone. You know?
Yes. That's true.
Stevie Wonder played one of those.
And every single sound that you make on here is actually a scene. It contains 4 different tones that you can create. So you can get some really fat, some really big sounds on here.
Programming a song is just sort of fancy talk for like kind of bullshitting your way through
What are you doing?
Bullshitting your way through making music.
Who is this guy?
That's Cory. You're familiar with Cory.
Oh, right, Cory.
Yeah. Sorry about that, sir. So, no, Cory, you're perfectly fine. Actually, that sounds totally better. Whatever you just did, he wasn't doing it, so he needed to be done.
You just messed with like the filter.
Listen to that. That's a song created for you right now. Tell you what, you can't bullshit your way through a guitar. You can't just pick up a guitar and have it make the music.
Yeah, well, you can. I would love to see you try and make this arpeggio beat. I doubt you could do it.
I'm making it right now. Look at me make it right now.
You didn't make
this.
That's a miracle. This is a preset sound.
Wow. Who could have ever discovered somebody making music like this? You know what I mean?
Okay. This is the preset sound.
I'm like a Tiesto guy. You know what I mean? I'm like one of those Vegas nightclub guys. I could do that.
Yeah.
With little to no training. Listen to this. Kind of like that?
No. It's a preset sound.
Are you kind of liking that a little bit?
It's a preset sound. It comes equipped on the.
You kind of liking that sound a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, you had nothing to do with that sound.
I'm making the sound right now. Watch. Okay, wait. Why didn't that stop? No, I made that sound though.
You gotta turn the arpeggiator off.
What?
I think maybe we should just move on. What would you review this out of 12 strings?
My review for this, out of 12 strings, I'm gonna give it a string and a half.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a string and a half. I'm tempted to give it a half a string, but I'll give it a string and a half because of the fact that you can sort of make it sound like a regular instrument. And that's something, you know?
Okay, well, for me, I would give this
Teardrop brass.
I'm giving my review. Can you stop for a second?
Sure, go ahead. Keep going with it, or whatever.
For the Juno-X, I would give a 10 out of 12 strings. This is a powerful instrument. It recreates a lot of the sounds despite it not being an analog instrument. There's a lot of functionality and a lot of things you can do with it. really a powerful tool, and I think one of the best Junos to come out of Roland in a long time.
How come not a full 12 if you like it so much?
Well, I mean, there's a few setbacks.
You're making a big deal about it, but you're not giving it a perfect score.
Well, I want to reserve that for real prime instruments. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Keyword there, people, being is instruments.
Okay, it's a great.
Actually, at this point, sort of acknowledging that it's not an instrument.
All right, this is a great instrument, and especially if you want to use this in a live setting. It's not analog. It's my only complaint. It's not analog.
If you actually want a real instrument, you could go to India and get a real instrument. You can get a little thing called a sitar.
Okay. Yes,
yeah, it's sort of like one of those big, goofy-looking guitar things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a big, goofy guitar.
Yeah,
You play
it's
it
not
sitting,
a guitar.
You actually play it sitting Indian style.